WOCA website at www.woca.com.
The most trusted name in news, Fox News, every half hour, only on 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. One of my favorite local books about this area is the Dunellen Boomtown of the 1890s book. Mm-hmm. And it's real clear as to why Dunellen was a boomtown back in the 1890s. It's because they were mining. I think they called it strip mining, right?
Yeah.
But they were digging up, what was it, limestone, lime rock?
Lime rock.
Lime rock was the primary thing that they would mine out of there. Mm-hmm. And it gave jobs. It is the reason Dunellen existed. It's probably one of the main reasons Ocala is even here. Anyway, that was then. This is now. It's not as easy to mine. And I guess some of the rules and regulations, it makes sense that some of the rules and regulations in place are probably for everybody's good. But sometimes there are things that need to be changed. Later this month, according to my notes, the U.S. House of Representatives will hear arguments for a bill to address the nation's mining permitting process. Some people say it's outdated and inefficient. Our next guest is going to educate us on this. He is Mark Fellows. He's a mining industry expert. He's the director of SNL Metals and Mining, which we figured out has nothing to do with Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I was so excited when I saw that.
Anyway, there's some legislation that was introduced by Senator Lisa Murkowski, a Republican from the state of Alaska, and Republican Mark Amodel, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, from Nevada. It's the American Mineral Security Act of 2015 and the National Strategic and Critical Minerals Production Act of 2015. I think earlier I was only naming one of them, but those are the two bills we're talking about. Mark Fellows, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Nice to speak to you.
Where are you?
I'm currently in D.C. I am based out of London, England, but I'm over here to assist the National Mining Association in publicising a piece of work that we've recently done, which hopefully will help people understand the real issue with regard to permitting delays, which is the actual economic impact it has, the impact it has on the value of mining projects and ultimately on the economy as a whole.
Okay, is there anything environmental about are the delays or are the reasons why we need to change this environmental in nature?
The reasons are nothing really to do with environmental stringency. The point isn't that mining companies are asking for less stringency in the permitting process. What mining companies are really concerned about is the fact that the delays that occur in the process are unpredictable and very protracted. If you make a comparison between the US and other similarly developed countries with good, high environmental standards, such as Canada and Australia, what you find in those countries is that there is a lot more certainty in the timeframes in the permitting process, and you can usually be fairly sure of getting your permits within a 2 to 3 year time frame in those countries. Here in the US, it can take 7 to 10 years.
Oh my goodness!
Wow,
that is a huge difference. I didn't realize it was that big. And the conclusion or the speculation is that there's somebody making money by delaying it?
Potentially, I guess that's not something I'd really know about. But I'm assuming litigation is a factor here, so you can infer from that what you will. But I think really the issue is that there are multiple government agencies involved, upwards of 30 in some instances, multiple individual permits required from those agencies, and that means that the whole process is extremely fragmented, and the individual components of the process don't necessarily have strict timeframes imposed upon them. So consequently, a whole bunch of different agencies get involved, feel that it's their duty to have their input in the process. But this all really comes together to produce very extended timelines to get a project permitted.
Are there certain minerals that are in dire need right now, and that this legislation will help them get extracted?
Absolutely, and one of the contrasts or the kind of ironies here is that the US is still extremely well endowed in terms of minerals in the ground. So the issue for the mining industry is not at all one of lack of stuff to dig up. The issue really is this permitting process. And right now, U.S. manufacturing is coming home. We're seeing this phenomenon of they're calling reshoring of manufacturing capacity, with a whole bunch of U.S. companies bringing their operations back to the U.S. And those manufacturers are understandably asking, where do they get their raw materials from, when they would obviously like to get them domestically if they were available.
Okay, yeah.
Yet, as it stands, they're dependent on countries such as China for a whole host of really crucial elements used in high-tech applications, such as everything from smartphones to widescreen TVs to green energy generation. So yeah, there's a very big issue here.
It's amazing. I mean, when you think about computers, you never realize how the connection between mining and the computer that you use. We just don't understand how this all comes to it all works together. So I'm guessing we have a large amount of resources right here that we're not tapping into because of these delays.
That's absolutely right. So it would not be at all difficult technically to make the U.S. self-sufficient in probably most of the minerals required. Obviously, these minerals are very often internationally traded, so there are sort of economic considerations. But those things aside, the U.S. is actually still one of the largest mining countries globally. It's around the seventh largest producer of minerals globally, and yet it is still the largest manufacturing country of the world. So there's a disconnect there.
Mark, I have a real quick question that I'm sure our listeners are wondering about, because in this country we've got two governing bodies that basically make these decisions, the federal level and the state level. So if the federal level says, here are the rules for mining, guess what? The state's going to say, well, those are your rules, here are our rules. And sometimes each state has a better understanding of its own reasons for the different rules. Will the two bills that you're talking about, I'm guessing they're federal since it's going to Congress, but will it change anything? Will there still be a delay? This is maybe a better way to ask this. Will there still be a delay if the states individually continue to do what they do?
I think that's always a risk, and as you say, the states themselves do have local issues to consider. But I certainly think that the legislation that's been proposed will do an awful lot to streamline the process, and hopefully those sorts of delays will be minimized.
Well, I always think when we have a short interview like this for such a big topic, especially if you're hearing it for the first time, that our mission is already accomplished because we got you to pay attention to it, you the listener, and me and Robin as well. So Mark, you've done that part. The only thing we need really is a website, because with less than a minute to go, there's no way we'll understand this whole thing. So do you have a website that explains this a lot better or in more detail?
Sure. I'd encourage your listeners to go to mineralsmakelife.org. So that's mineralsmakelife.org, and there they'll find a whole bunch of material that will give them a bit more detail about the issues involved, including the reports that we've SNL have produced recently for the National Mining Association, and they'll hopefully learn a lot from going there.
All right, good stuff. And you bring our attention to something we probably would have never spoken about. Mark Fellows, thank you so much. The website Mark gave us is mineralsmakelife.org. Robin already has that website on the guest list for today. Just go to our website, WOCA.com, or call us. We'll be glad to repeat it. Mark, thank you so much. Have an enjoyable visit.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Friday night, a thunderstorm in spots, otherwise partly cloudy. Low 73 to 75. On Saturday, periods of clouds and sunshine with a shower or thunderstorm in the afternoon. High 92 to 94. Partly sunny.